Hey folks, Dave Ashenbrunner. Welcome back to my shop. Here's a seat that Legendary Motorcycle sells a lot of. We make quite a few of these. Some of you may have seen my 3-minute seat video. This is the actual seat that we made. I did speed that up quite a bit, and there's a lot more to it than what I led on to in that video, but I thought I'd finish it today and show you what steps goes into polishing, sanding. There's a 4-step sanding process to it, and I'll show you some of my little secrets that I've learned over the years. In fact, I think I learned this one in a body shop when I was probably 16 years old. Hung around at a body shop, and one of the techs there taught me a little trick. But we'll get into the seat. A lot of people don't know this, but when you're finishing a seat off, you have to sand it. Any bit of body work here on a small part like this, where you can't get at it everywhere with an English wheel, can't get into some of these spots, to smooth this off, you really want to sand it. What that does is if you sand it correctly, and it'll flatten this seat out. We're going to go on this thing 4 times. It's important that you don't sand any more than necessary. The first stage of sanding will be with 80 grit, believe it or not, and that's what's going to take all the scratches and gouges, hammer marks, dents, any imperfections out of it. It's pretty close right now, but we're going to go pretty gentle with the 80 on this one, and then we work ourselves down to 180. Now, each stage that you go, as you graduate to a little higher grit, a little finer grit, I should say, on these, you're only trying to take the scratches out that you made from the last grit. So as you work yourself down, you're looking for scratches in the surface, and you're sanding it until those scratches are gone. Being careful not to hit one spot, any one area too much on it. So I'm going to have my mask on while I'm going through this process, and I probably won't be able to talk. I may lift my mask if I see something that's important that's worth mentioning on it. The second phase of this will be buffing and polishing. They're 2 different things. A lot of guys will, in fact, a lot of these imported tanks, they'll buff them with a wheel with coarse grit rouge on them, and they'll look great. They'll look really nice, but if you look at it real close, you'll see the wheel marks in it, on it. So, you know, from 10 or 20 feet away, your tank will look just like great stuff. But if you look at it close, if anybody comes up to it, wants to pet your motorcycle, for instance, or pet your piece of art, you'll want to make sure that when they come close, they don't just go like this. So I'm going to teach you some of the little nuances of polishing and buffing. Buffing the finish out with a very fine cream buffing compound. So first thing we got to do is we got to get rid of these welds. We're going to come along with a grinder. I'll do that. I'm not going to bore anybody with that. I just try to stay nice and flat against these areas here, and we want to get all the little inclusions and edges around the weld. So what I normally will do is I'll take this over to a relatively flat surface, and I'll put a piece of, actually 1 or 2 layers of box cardboard on it, and I'll hit this, and the box cardboard kind of suppresses that the weld wanting to raise up too far. It'll kind of suppress that. It'll give it just enough, and like any other time we take a hammer to aluminum, we go real gentle, we check our progress, we go real gentle, we check our progress. So I'm going to do that off camera. It's pretty noisy, and it's really doesn't make any sense. I'll show you when we're finished what it looks like. Okay, what I did here, besides put on protective clothing, was I hammered this out, ground it off. You can see I took a little bit, feathered it out on the edges. The first stage of grinding with the 80 will take care of that. I actually used a 40 grit disc on that, so this is going to require a little bit of finishing. The 80 takes it off pretty fast, so we don't really have a problem there. Same for the other side here. So everything's going along smooth. I still have to take the grinder to the front corners over here and the weld where the seat pan meets the seat back or the seat cowl. And then we're going to take this off with the grinder, make quick work of it, and then we'll finish the rest of it off. We have the shrink marks from the shrinker over here, and we're going to take that down with the 80 grit there. And we're going to be real careful on this corner right here as we come around. It's real easy to go too far with that. So we're just going to just feather touch on this. And we're just going to, you'll be able to see the high spots go away as we do that. I'll try to film the whole thing, but there's not much talking I can do while we're doing that. So some of this might be hidden too, because I can't move the camera to some spots because the spray actually comes off the aluminum. One more thing before I get started, I won't be able to tell you this as I go, is this is that old timer trick thing that I learned. When you're grinding on a body, let's say you're removing the paint or you're removing Bondo or hitting the high spots on the dents, you treat this like it's a file. You imagine as this wheel's going around, you've got a file, and it's about a third of the way across the face of this. And this is your file, just this little spot right here. So you're going to tilt this, you're never going to get it up on its toe or on its heel far enough, because what that'll do is it'll start throwing this around, and generally the paper stays sharper in the center, and what you'll do is you'll make a little flat spot in there. So we're going to be real careful. We keep it always moving. And we imagine we got that little file area here on this as we're going, and then everything turns out real nice and smooth. Takes a little bit of practice. I've been doing this for years, so we're going to do that after we grind this. So pardon my interruption here. We'll be right back. Okay, we're just about ready here. One thing I did fail to mention, beeswax. You want to lubricate your paper with beeswax. Not only does it make your paper last longer and sharper, but it flies off with the material. So you don't have the aluminum is real sticky, especially 1100, and you don't want the aluminum particles sticking to the sandpaper grit itself. It's not that it dulls it, but it clogs it. I think it's real important to mention that before we get started here. So every time we pick up a new piece of paper, you can see my assortment here. This is 80. This is my 180. We'll go at the second. This is my 320, and we're going to finish it off with. We're going to finish this off with 600 grit. And the 600 grit, we could probably forego that if we spend a little extra time on the buffer. However, I'd rather spend the time doing a quick sanding on it and spend less time on the buffer. Buffing is kind of a miserable job. I really don't like it, and it's dirty. You see I'm dressed up in my Sunday worst clothes here. But the fact of the matter is this just cuts it faster. It allows for me to, when I'm going over it with the 600, I can see any of the scratches that the former different paper grades left behind. So the 600 is nice. You can bear down a little bit, and you can keep going on it. You can get rid of them without going back to the next grade of paper if you have to. This is a nice thing. So we're going to start grinding.
nasty scratches out of here. Hold it like that. You can go right up and hold it real still.
going 320 now?
Like the butcher's.
Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of steps to this. This is what makes these perfect. And dare I say perfect, there's a lot of chances you're taking right at the very end of this thing, burning through this rollover edge in the back here. You want to make sure that this is very uniform all the way across and everything, and then you get rid of all the shrink and grinder marks. When this thing is done, it'll be like a piece of jewelry. That's how we buff everything here. When I quote something out, I always quote buffing out extra because there's a lot of work that goes into just what you've seen here, and we're only halfway there. We're going to be buffing, and this is a very small piece. As you can see, this is just a fraction of what a gas tank is or a fairing is or anything, but this ensures that it turns out absolutely, positively perfect when it's done. So we can still screw up on the buffer yet, and that'll be next. So